Hello, everyone. My name is Daymi Pelaez, and I will be the host for today's meeting. This is the ABA Exam Academy, and we will be going over specific behavior change procedures, which is part of the BCBA 4th edition task list section E. I'm going to move on to the disclaimer, which is ABA Exam Academy was created by and for students to earn their BCBA, BCABA certification. Most of the leaders and participants are not a BCBA, BCABA at this time. These meetings are meant to have active discussions, to collaborate, ask questions, and provide helpful suggestions to better understand the BACB 4th edition task list concepts. Due to this, it is important to know that all viewers and participants are responsible to verify the accuracy of the information being provided in order to successfully prepare for the big exam. All right, so ethical considerations are refrain from sharing any BCBA, BCABA test questions, refrain from sharing any paid resources or any specific identifiable client information. And if sharing any open resources, peer-reviewed articles, or books, please make sure to give credit to the author. In the ABA Exam Academy, we have some rules. Number 1 is make sure to mute your microphones if you're not speaking. Number 2 is allow the leader and all participants a turn to speak. Number 3, make sure to be respectful to others and refrain from using any inappropriate language. And number 4, and most important, is to have fun. All right, this is our schedule, just in case anyone wants to take a few seconds to write anything down, anything that's convenient to you. This is also on the Facebook page, so if you want to take a look at it later, or if you want to take a screenshot on your phone or take a quick picture of it, go ahead, feel free. But like I said, it's on the Facebook page. It should be on in the beginning, like the pin post. So you should find it there easily. If you can't, just send us a message, and we will make sure to send it to you. All right, on my agenda is section E2, E5, E7, E9, and E13. I'm only focusing on 5 different parts of this task list, which are the 5 parts that were more difficult for me to understand. But I used a lot of visuals because I am a visual learner. So I hope that this helps you guys learn it as well. All right, so are you guys ready?
Yes, ready.
All right, cool. All right, so on this cute little image, it says, I hope you are paying attention. This will be on the BCBA exam. All right, let's go. All right, use discrimination training procedures. This is on Cooper page 395. What are the 3 main concepts of generalization and discrimination?
Stimulus generalization.
Okay, that's one.
Response generalization.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's response discrimination and stimulus discrimination.
Stimulus generalization, stimulus discrimination, and response generalization. Good job. All right, so we're gonna go over these really quick. Okay. So with stimulus generalization, I have, and this is a tip that we've used a lot, and I learned it using the word multiple in front. So I make, I always put multiple in front of the, whatever it is that we're looking for. So in this case, I have 3 different types of airplanes. So I have an actual airplane, a paper airplane, and a toy airplane. And then I put that there's multiple airplanes. So these are 3 stimuli, and then you have the word plane for all 3. So that's your response. Okay. Does anybody else want to give another example of something you can use for this specific situation for stimulus generalization?
Another example is like if you are greeting somebody, let's say you see someone in the classroom, you say hi. Someone in the hallway, you say hi. You see someone in how you call it, playground, you say hi. So it's 3 different setting, but it's multiple setting, but the response is still high. It's one response, which is high, but it's multiple setting.
Okay, very good. Okay, and then something I want to let you guys know, let me see if I could use like a writing tool. I don't know how to use this that well. It doesn't matter. I'll just explain it to you guys. Okay, so something that I used to do was I used to get confused because I was like, oh, which one is it? Because I know it's multiple stimulus and I know it's one response. But sometimes I would be like, oh, maybe it's response generalization because you have one response. Okay, that would confuse me because I was like, which one is it? So I would go back and forth. What I do now is I take a mock exam and then I actually write it down. So I figure out, okay, what are they asking? Okay, they have 3 different things. Let's say it's the 3 planes. Oh, a toy plane. So I write S, S, and S. So I draw it out and then I put the arrows and then I say, okay, they're all saying plane. So then I draw everything out. So then I circle the one that has the most. So like you saw here that I did the circle here, the little oval. So I know that if there's a lot of these and there's only one of these, then the answer is this one, stimulus. If it's the other way around, if it's the circle is here because there's 3 of these and only one of these, then the answer is response generalization. And that has seemed to work for me. So, I mean, you guys can try it out and see if it works for you guys. But if I write it down for a mock exam, I will get the answer right. If I don't write it down, I will get it wrong. So to me, it's like math. I refer this to like a math equation. If you write it down and work it out, you will get it right.
I mean, I think over time, practice make it better. Like if you have multiple response, so multiple responses. So like if you say, "Hey, what's up? What's good? What's going on?" That's multiple responses. So that will be response generalization. If you have multiple stimulus, in that case, you have 3 different plan, and you have one answer, which is the all same plan. I mean, I guess by putting the word multiple, I was having a hard time before. I guess now by looking at it that way, it make more sense.
Yeah, I mean, the more you practice, the better. But for me, I need to write it down. I mean, like I said, I'm a visual learner, so I need to write everything down to figure it out. So it works for me. Maybe for other people, they don't have to do it. But for me, it definitely does make a big difference. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next one is stimulus discrimination. Okay, with stimulus discrimination, at first I didn't really understand it, but I dove into Cooper and I went into other paid resources that I have, and this is kind of what I got out of it. If you guys want to explain a little bit more, that would be great. But what I got out of it is as we grow, we kind of get reinforced for different things and we get punished for different things. So we kind of learn to discriminate everything in life. So these are 2 different examples that I got and broke down for you guys. So in a color wheel, we have tons of different colors. But we start off by learning the primary colors and then we start learning the secondary colors. But if I were to point at something, at a color that's in the color wheel, someone might tell me that this is pink and someone might tell me that it's purple, but it's depending on what we learn through our lives. Okay, and the same thing goes for the animals. Maybe if you have a client that doesn't understand how to discriminate yet the difference, they might say that these are all the same animal. But even though they're white, furry, and they have standing ears, their ears are up, they are 3 different animals. So we need to learn to discriminate which one's the cat, which one's the dog, and which one's the rabbit. Does anybody have any examples or want to go into it this further?
I mean, discrimination, it's when you start diving into the find discrimination. Obviously, by looking at those three furry animal, a kid who's just learning might say it, they're all probably dogs. So that would be stimulus generalization. But once you get into the find discrimination, you can discriminate between, yes, they all have ears, they're all white, they're all furry, but one is a rabbit, one is a dog, because the kid is able to discriminate.
Yeah, so we're looking more into the details, right, of what those animals, what details are on those animals to show me that a cat is a cat, a dog is a dog, and a rabbit is a rabbit. So just by looking at the images, I know that the cat has very long whiskers. Their eyes are a little bit more oval shaped. The rabbit has extremely long ears. The dog and the cat have shorter ears. So we tend to look at more of those details to discriminate the difference between the white furry animals. And the same thing goes with the colors. Does anybody have more questions, or I don't know if there's any
question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand this. So I was working with a 3-year-old who called everybody mom.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be that he was not having stimulus discrimination because he didn't realize everybody wasn't his mother?
Well, that can be over generalization. He might be not understanding yet how to discriminate, like you said. So he's over generalizing that all women are called mom instead of saying that they're all women.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of, the three of these, that's why they're all fall within the same umbrella of discrimination training. But that definitely, what you're explaining is overgeneralization.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, no problem. Does anybody want to explain to her a little bit more about that, or?
You said it right.
Okay, cool.
I like the one that Cooper gave Daymi about the labels of cookies. There's 2 cookie containers. One has a warning label on it, which is the S delta, and then the other one has no warning label on it, which is the SD. And as long as the child could discriminate the cookies without the warning label on it, then they can have a cookie. So yes, they're both cookies. However, they had to discriminate against a warning label versus not a warning label on top of the same cookie jar.
That's really good. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing. That's good. All right. So the next one I'm going to go over. Okay, so now we're going to get both of these two, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast. I looked into Cooper and I got some information, but what I got out of this was, I have a little image on the bottom to further explain. So I have a fill in the blank here. Stimulus generalization reflects a loose degree of, does anybody want to go for this word?
Stimulus control.
Stimulus control. Very good. Nice job, guys. You guys are on top of it. All right, stimulus generalization is more likely with a lighter or darker color of blue, or when a stimulus has other elements blank with a controlling stimuli like shape or size.
In common.
Yes, perfect. All right, stimulus discrimination has a blank, relatively tight degree blank.
Stimulus control.
Of control.
Control.
Perfect. So if you had a child trying to discriminate, which ones are more related? They're obviously going to pick the oval and the circle, then the square. Why? Because the circle and the oval, they both look like circles. They both have very similar shapes. So even though all three of them are the same color, the square is very different. So that discrimination they're very apart. just like here they were saying about the lighter or darker color of blue, if I were to put yellow and red together, those are very different colors. But if I were to put red and orange, they're much closer than red and yellow, okay? That's basically what this is explaining. Any questions on this?
That was good. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so here we have a picture of me. Okay, I didn't know what to come up with, but I was like, I'm just gonna throw this out there because it's just something that came up on my mind. All right, so I put a picture of me. I'm the stimulus, and I have 3 different people that call me 3 different names, and then I have everyone else that calls me one name. So my actual name, Daymi. One of my kids calls me mommy, which is my younger son. My older son calls me mom, and then my husband calls me Mimi. So even though there's 4 different names for me, it's only one stimulus, and that's myself. Okay? So like I was talking about stimulus generalization, I write out when I take a mock exam or when someone gives me some kind of detail on what I have to look for so that I can come up with the right answer, I figure out how many responses are there, what is there one stimulus or more than one, and then when I draw it out, I write multiple in front, I circle the amount that has multiple, and then that's the answer. And then generalization just comes after. So it's just figuring out which one's the stimulus generalization and which one's the response generalization. Any questions on this or any more details, explanation?
Love the example. That was really
No,
cool.
I really like that example because that makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah. And
Great
you know,
example, Daymi.
thank you. And another one that is very similar is your role, not just the names. So at work, you're an employee. At home, you're a mom. When you're with your parents, you're a daughter. So, you know, it's also the same. So your role in different places is the same as your name in different situations when you're with different people. So it's just looking for that stimulus and how many responses you have. All right, thank you guys. Any questions on that, or does anybody want to go over it again?
It's great, thank you.
I just want to make sure you guys understand, because I know that when I first started learning this topic, it was very difficult for me. So I want to make sure it gets through to everyone. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about.
Sorry, I have a quick question.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, so the stimulus response, stimulus generalization has to do with the types of stimulus. Is that what, if I'm correct?
Yeah, it's the actual, whatever it is you're looking at. So it can be an item, it can be a person, it can be something, an actual tangible. But
Okay.
the response is either something you say or something that's written, something verbal.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I was just trying to distinguish the two. Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's something, response is something you do. A behavior, basically. One instance of a behavior.
Exactly.
No, I was just trying to see. Okay, I was trying to figure out the stimulus is the, like, okay, so she has like three different types of plane, but the response is the plane.
Saying plane. So
Saying plane.
saw how I
Okay.
have it in
Yes.
quotations.
So stimulus is the object. If it makes it any easier for you, like.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was trying to get to. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's the 3 items, they're actual items, and then the word plane here is actually saying plane. So if a child sees a plane fly and they say plane, and then the mom takes out a toy plane and she says, "Oh, I want to play with the plane," and then he gets a paper and he makes it into a plane and he throws it and he says, "This is my plane." There are 3 stimulus and there's 1 response to those 3 items.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem. All right. So we're going to move on to E5, use independent, interdependent, and dependent group contingencies. So here's a fill in the blank. Blank is provided only if. So we use these 3 group contingencies, but what is provided for these 3 only if you do what? What do you get for that?
Reinforcement?
Yes, perfect. So reward reinforcement is provided only if. So dependent group contingency, AKA, does anybody know?
Hero procedure.
Hero procedure.
Hero procedure. So here I have my hero. The way I look at it for the hero procedure is thinking about superhero. Whatever superhero you like. Like, honestly, I love Thor. Like you guys saw on Facebook that I put him on there. That is my favorite superhero. So when I think about Thor, I think about the hero procedure, the hero contingency. So he's gonna go and he's gonna save the world for everyone. He's not saving it just for himself. He's saving it for everyone. Okay? So here he is, and here are all of us rooting him on and cheering him on and saying, hey, go do it and save us, and we're going to just stand back and relax, and you're going to save the world. All right, so for independent group contingency, the AKA is what? You can look at the pictures and try to figure it out. Do you see all my little men?
All or nothing?
By themselves? Yep, all or nothing. Oh, no, this one's everyone for themselves. So everyone for themselves. So these little guys are standing by themselves. You see how they're big and they're figuring out everything, very separate, on their own, trying to do their own thing alone. And they only get reinforcement individually. So if this one over here does it, he gets reinforcement. But if all of these guys don't do it, they don't get it. All right. For interdependent group contingency, the AKAs, I think you said it, Rita.
Yes, all or nothing.
All or nothing. All or none. All right, so all these guys, they're all together. They're close together. They're trying to do everything. What happens if one of them don't do it?
Nothing.
Nobody gets the reward.
Nobody gets the reward. Okay, so every single one of these guys have to do it. If not, they will not get the reward. Okay? Does everybody understand?
Right. So the example kind of be like, in a classroom, if you all don't finish your work, we're not going to lunch. Something like that.
For this one, for the last one?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
And the other one, the independent one is whoever finishes their math homework can go to lunch or go to, recess, something like that.
Or you can say something that happens on an everyday, like if whoever does their homework gets something from the treasure box. That's good for everyone for themselves. So if Johnny did his homework, then he gets something from the treasure box. But if Maria and Jenny doesn't, then they won't. It's all for themselves. Each person is individualized. And then for the hero, it's just one person gets it for everyone. But if he doesn't do it, nobody gets it. Okay? And then interdependent is just, like we said, all or none. So either everyone does it and we get a pizza party, or half of the class does it and we don't. So it doesn't matter if one person did it or half of the class or 90% of the class did it. Every single person has to do it to get a pizza party. Any questions on this?
Nope, seem to get that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really good. Love the visuals again.
Demi, can we just add?
Mhm.
Sorry, you're right.
Yep.
Can we just
No.
add that part of the strategy for picking the hero person is that you would have to pick someone who's capable of achieving that particular task, so that everyone can benefit from that. And a disadvantage is that someone could also try to pick someone who cannot, the flip of that, who cannot perform that particular task, thereby sabotaging the group from winning.
Sounds good, Rita. Thank you. That's a great point. Yeah, because obviously they're all depending on this one person. So if you choose someone that's unable to, then everybody's going to get frustrated. They might get upset and take it off on that person. So you got to make sure you get someone that has the behavior that you're looking for in their repertoire, or at least close. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's like an ethical consideration, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna move on to E7, plan for behavioral contrast effects. All right. What is behavior contrast? Anybody in their own words wanna tell me what it is?
It's pretty much if you implement a behavior plan, let's say at school, and you might see the behavior decreases at school, but it increases at home.
Okay, very good. So here I have, and I see this a lot with, maybe it could be the other way around. I just put it in this specific situation. There might be more tantrums in dad's house than in mom's house. And obviously it's because of something, whether it's reinforcement, punishment, extinction, whatever it is that happened, caused it to happen more in dad's house than in mom's house. So the definition I have is a behavior contrast is a phenomenon in which change in one component of a multiple schedule increases or decreases the rate of responding on that component that is accompanied by a change in the response rate in the opposite direction on the other. Okay, so does anybody remember the movie? This is an old movie, but it's the movie The Devil Wears Prada.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so very, very funny movie about a lady that, a young girl that she starts working for a company, and her boss is like this very strict lady. She's rich. She has a lot of expectations, very high expectations. And what happens when the boss walks in the building? What does everyone do? Does anybody know?
You do more work.
You do more work. You start putting your nice shoes on, because I remember in the movie she is with no shoes on. She wants to get comfortable. And then the moment her boss walks in, she puts her shoes on. She sits up straight. She starts typing on the computer. She, puts her hair down, fixes her hair. And then you see everybody on the phones making phone calls. And right, not even a minute before that, everybody was with their legs on the furniture, doing whatever they wanted. But the moment that person walks in, everything changes. So this is an example of behavior contrast. And obviously it's because something happened before, whether it's punishment, reinforcement, whatever it was, that caused everyone's behavior to change because of that, whatever it is, walked in. So in the case of the movie, her walking in is what causes the behavior contrast.
The boss is this aversive stimulus.
Right. Yeah, she's the aversive stimulus, the boss. So, but in a parent situation, like a lot of divorced parents, one might be more strict than the other, or maybe one is reinforcing inappropriate behavior. There's a lot of things that could happen. And this does happen where we can go into one house and see the client act in a one way, and then in another house, they act in a different way. Does anybody have any more examples on that?
One sample that I remember is the time sucking. That at home, the time sucking is increasing. And I mean, it's stopping because the mom don't let the child, suck the thumb. But then at school, it's increasing more.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's a great example, Minerva. Thank you. All right, so breathe, laugh, and learn. Okay, so I have 3 important and friendly suggestions, and I am sure that all of you have heard them, but I want to emphasize on them. So number 1, use all your time to study. So if you are taking the exam in August, use all your time to study. So if you have 1 hour a day because you are a mother and you have children and you work and you have tons of things and you only have 1 hour a day, put your alarm and study 1 hour a day. If you have 3 hours a day, study 3 hours a day. If you have 1 day on the weekend, or if like in the picture it says weekend, you must mean 48-hour study session. Great, go for it. But we want to pass this exam, so use all your time to study. All right, my second tip is read Cooper. All right, what I mean by read Cooper is not read it from beginning to end. If you guys have time to read Cooper from beginning to end, great. But if you don't, that's okay. The only thing I want to make sure I tell you guys is make a list and prioritize the topics that you are struggling with. Then when you figure that out, go back to Cooper, and whatever they talk about for that specific topic, read it. So if behavior contrast is the most difficult topic for you, and they have 4 pages on behavior contrast, read the 4 pages. Once you're done with that, check it off, and then move on to the next topic you're struggling with. Because I will guarantee you, if you read whatever it is you're struggling with on Cooper, Cooper gives so many examples, and I understand it's a hard read, but if you only use Cooper for the topics you're struggling with, you are going to understand it. That's what happened with me with self-management. Last time I had a presentation, I didn't understand self-management. They had so many terms, habit, reversal, mass practice, blah, 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 blah. And I went back and read the whole chapter because self-management is one entire chapter. And I think that I understand self-management like the palm of my hand now, because I focused on my biggest issue, which was self-management and all their terms and all their different ways to explain things and everything. And now I think I understand it, not 100%, but at least 90%. So it's much better than it was before. So number 2 is read Cooper, go back. And then number 3 is use tons of materials to get organized. So as you see in this beautiful little picture, all these colorful highlighters and the yellow highlighter in the bottom, this is going to help you get organized. Highlighters, notebooks, different colored pens, binders, dividers, whatever you need to do. I've seen people that do charts on their walls, put things on their refrigerators. Make this your everyday. Organize your house. If you can't do your whole house, I get it. I can't do that. But my whole office, I have things everywhere, printouts that I've printed and laminated, charts that I have, different items that I've purchased, binders full of stuff. And I go back and I highlight and I write and I use different colors. So the more you can use, the better. Okay, so here I have 1, does not simply prepare for the BCBA exam without reading the white book, which is Cooper. And today we honor our fallen friend. His memory will live on forever in our Cooper book. So these are my top 3 tips, and I think that it would benefit everyone, at least to help pass. I'm not saying this is going to be your biggest resource, but that, and of course, number 1, study group. Study group, build fluency, go for it. Every day, the more you do it, the better. All right, we will move on. Okay. Arrange high probability request sequence. High P. What's the AKA for high probability?
Behavior momentum.
Momentum.
Behavior momentum. Great job.
Yes.
Okay. What is high probability request sequence?
Using presenting sequence of tasks that is already in the repertoire that would build for the high, for the low, that will make it probable that the low task or behavior would, be able to be achieved. So asking like 5 questions, 3 to 5 questions that the child will easily answer, and then after that sequence and sneak in 1 question that is not easily answerable by the child.
Perfect. That's exactly what it is. That was great, Rita. Okay, so it's an antecedent intervention where 2 to 5 easy tasks in the learner's repertoire are presented in quick succession before requesting the target task low P. Perfect. That's exactly what you said in your own words. Okay, so what is this used for? Okay, so what I wrote was, it's to keep the intervention moving in a good pace, rate of responding. With simple tasks, then giving a difficult task is more likely to be followed. So here I have images of numbers, and then I have an actual equation. So you would ask the client, what number is this? And then you would ask them 2 to 5 of those. What number is this? What number is this? What number is this? And then you say, what's 2 plus 2?
Daymi, you have less than 1 minute.
Okay. So what's 2 plus 2? And then they say 4. And then you go back and you say the high P again. What number is this? What number is this? What number is this? And then you say, what's 3 plus 2? 5. So you have more chances of them answering your equation if you do high P and then low P. All right, so I'm gonna close this out and I'll start it, and I'm only gonna do 10 more minutes because I ran late today. I'm gonna send the link.